Matthew starts off this hour in Minnesota. Hey, Matthew, how are you?
Good. How are you doing, Dave?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Just want to say welcome back from your vacation.
Thank you.
So my question is, I am currently working full-time as well as my wife, and I'm working part-time a few days a week delivering pizzas. And I just want it to be more weird, so I signed up, or I applied for another part-time job to bring in more income. But at the same time, I am feeling like I need to do more of a balance between family and paying off debt, and that's where I feel stuck.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I just was wondering what your advice would be.
How old are your children?
He is going to be 6 in May.
Okay. And in what way is he being harmed by you working?
Well, I just of me not being home a lot in the evenings,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes to school during the day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how much debt do you have?
We started at 85,000, and we are down to almost 78.
Okay, so you're making a little progress. Okay.
Yep.
And what's your household income?
Our household income is around 85 to 90.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And what kind of debt is this?
It's student loans, car payment, medical debts.
Mm-hmm. And how much is owed on your car?
It is around 22,000.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, there's two parts to this. One is some common sense that you have to be around and see your child, obviously. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The other part of this is, and I'm from a different generation, so bear with me. Okay.
Okay.
When I was when I first became a Christian, a guy came to our church and he said, when you have little daughters, take your daughters on a date. Dress up and take them to McDonald's, or dress them up and take them to a fine restaurant or whatever. And I thought, man, that's a great idea. Date your daughters, right? So you get to know your kids, you spend time with your kids, and it establishes a bond between the dad and the daughter. And I think it's a great idea still. I think you ought to do it still, okay? Meg Meeker
Mm-hmm.
agrees with me. She thinks it's a great idea. But here's what's weird. If you interview, and it's been done, by the way, Rachel Cruz or Denise Whittemore, and you ask them, they will tell you, Dad took us on dates all the time. You know what the truth is? 5 times. That's the truth. 5 times I did that, and I got credit for all the time. And so the point is with little guys that they do view the world differently than us. They're not as rote, and they don't have as much grasp of time. And so you taking him for donuts at the Krispy Kreme or the Dunkin' Donuts and spending an hour and a half with him at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning is going to feel like you spent 3 days with him. You see what I'm saying? So that's the kind of balance against what you're saying. And by the way, whether you're out of debt or whether you're working a lot or not, that works, okay? My son-in-law's a football coach.
Okay.
Denise's husband's a football coach, and he's a world-class guy. He's a world-class dad. In the fall, he does not see his kids. She's a widow.
Oh, for sure.
She's a football widow in the fall.
Man.
I mean, she signed up for that. She married a football coach. So no whining.
Yep.
And so that's what you get. And she has a 6-year-old son, by the way, my grandson. And
oh, sure.
And yet I would tell you that Bill Whittemore is a world-class dad. He finds a moment or two, even during football season, to grab William, his son, and spend a little time with him. And it magnifies in the kid's head. And then when they're not doing football, he's game on with the kids, okay? So when you get out of debt, you'll be game on with the kids when you're not doing debt-free. So all of that to take a little bit of the guilt tripping you're giving yourself off of you and saying, hey, working real hard for the good of your family for a short period of time so you never have to work like that again is probably worth it. Do balance it out. Do use some wisdom, but don't be guilting yourself too heavily. They'll be okay. They'll be okay. When I started this business, I was working 16 hours a day. I'd come in at 8 and I'd leave here at 11. And I did that when our kids were little. And I did that for a couple years. Our kids have benefited from that.
Right.
I live like no one else, work like no one else. Now I work like no one else. I just took a month off, right? So, there's a balance through the scope of your life. There's a period of time here that you're going to be out of balance. Do it with wisdom. Catch those special moments with your son. Don't completely abandon him. I'm not suggesting that. I don't want him to have emotional problems or developmental issues, and I want you to be a good dad.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to let you off the hook and say you're being a much better dad than someone who didn't even have sense enough to ask this question.
Right.
You're okay, dude.
And right. And another thing too is one person told me that kids don't remember how much time, they remember what you did.
Exactly. That's my point about the donut thing or the dates, right? They also,
Right.
It's like I got credit for months and months and months and years of dating my daughters, and I didn't do it. That's the truth. I intended to do better than I did, but I pretty much like 5 times each. I mean, it really, but it did so much emotional good that it expanded, just exactly what you just said. And so that's why I told you that story. It's not to say don't do it. It's just to say you don't have to guilt trip and go, I'm a really bad dad because I didn't check all of these boxes perfectly. The very fact that you asked this question says you're a world-class dad. Period. You're a world-class dad. You're a hero. Hey, man, thank you for calling. You're a good man.